One of these luxury electric SUVs is already starting to feel outdated. One is secretly the smartest long-term buy, and one is designed to impress you so much that you might ignore its compromises. And if you're about to spend close to $90,000 to $110,000, picking the wrong one isn't just a bad decision, it's something you'll feel every single day you own it. Because this isn't just a comparison, it's about how often you charge, how relaxed you feel on long drives, how modern your car feels in 2 years, and whether you quietly regret your purchase. Today, we're breaking down the Audi Q8 e-tron, the BMW iX xDrive 45, and the Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV, not just by specs, but by what actually happens when you live with them. Because on paper, they look close. In reality, they're not even playing the same game. Let's start with battery and range, but in a way that actually matters to your life. The Audi Q8 e-tron shows up with a massive 114 kilowatt-hour battery, around 106 kilowatt-hours usable. On paper, that translates to roughly 450 to 480 kilometers. Sounds strong. But in real-world driving, especially highways, it often drops closer to 370 to 420 kilometers. Now, here's the part most people miss. That's a huge battery, without a huge advantage. The reason is simple. The Audi is heavy, around 2.5 to 2.6 tons, and it's built on a platform that wasn't originally designed as a pure EV, so it consumes more energy doing the same job. Now compare that to the BMW iX xDrive 45. Slightly smaller battery, just over 100 kilowatt-hours usable, but suddenly range jumps to around 500 to 600 kilometers depending on conditions. Realistically, you're looking at 435 to 500 kilometers without stress. And this is where numbers become lifestyle. Because that difference means fewer charging stops. Over a week, the BMW might need charging once, while the Audi might need it twice. Over a month, that gap becomes routine. You stop thinking about range and start trusting the car. Over a year, it's hours saved, fewer interruptions, and a completely different relationship with your vehicle. Then comes the Mercedes EQE SUV, sitting in the middle with about a 90 kilowatt-hour battery. Range lands around 450 to 550 kilometers, depending on trim. In real-world use, it's balanced. Not as efficient as BMW, not as heavy as Audi. And that's intentional. Mercedes isn't trying to win the range war, it's trying to make sure you don't think about it at all. Charging reinforces this difference. The BMW iX leads with speeds up to around 195 kilowatts, faster top-ups, shorter stops, better for road trips. The Audi Q8 e-tron and Mercedes EQE SUV both sit around 170 kilowatts. Still good, but not class-leading. And over time, those extra minutes at charging stations don't just add up. They change how you plan trips, how long you stay, and how often you check your battery percentage. Now, here's where specs stop mattering and driving begins. The Audi Q8 e-tron feels familiar. Solid, stable, quiet in a traditional luxury way. It accelerates to 100 kilometers per hour in about 5.5 seconds, but it doesn't feel exciting. It feels controlled, safe, almost like it's holding back. And that's because it was never designed from the ground up as an EV. The BMW iX changes that immediately. Around 4.5 to 5 seconds to 100 kilometers, but more importantly, it feels alive. The torque is instant, the responses are sharper, and despite its size, it feels lighter than it should. It doesn't just move quickly, it reacts quickly. Lane changes feel confident, acceleration feels effortless, and even daily driving feels more engaging than you expect from a large SUV. And then there's the Mercedes EQE SUV. This car isn't trying to be the fastest or the most efficient, it's trying to make driving effortless. The ride is softer, smoother, almost floating. The steering is lighter. Everything about it is designed to reduce stress, not increase excitement. It's the kind of car that makes long journeys feel shorter, not because you're driving faster, but because you're more relaxed the entire time. Step inside and the personalities become even clearer. The Audi gives you a clean, premium interior, High-quality materials, dual screens, everything where you expect it. But it doesn't feel new anymore. It feels like a refined version of something you've already seen. Comfortable, yes. Impressive, not really. The BMW iX feels like a modern lounge. Minimalist design, curved display, open space. It doesn't try to impress instantly. It grows on you. The more time you spend in it, the more you appreciate how everything is designed around usability and comfort without overwhelming you. The Mercedes EQE SUV does the opposite. It wants to impress you immediately. The massive hyperscreen, ambient lighting, and flowing design make it feel futuristic from the first second. This is where Mercedes wins emotionally. It feels special every time you step in, like the car is putting on a show just for you. But here's the hidden truth. First impressions don't tell the full story. Let's talk about ownership. Day one, the Mercedes feels the most impressive. The Audi feels the easiest. The BMW feels the most different. By month 3, things start to shift. The BMW iX begins to make more sense. You're charging less. You're noticing how efficient it is. The design that once felt unusual now feels intentional. The Audi still feels comfortable, but you're visiting charging stations more than you expected. Not dramatically more, but enough that you start noticing the difference. The Mercedes still feels luxurious, but the wow factor starts becoming normal. The screens, the lighting, they're still impressive, but no longer surprising. Now fast forward to year 2. The BMW iX still feels modern, still feels smart, still feels like a decision you'd make again. The Mercedes still feels premium, but now you start noticing that it wasn't built for efficiency or performance first. It's about experience, and that comes with trade-offs. And the Audi? This is where it becomes difficult to ignore. What once felt familiar now starts to feel outdated. Not bad, just behind. And in the EV world, behind becomes obvious faster than most people expect. Now let's talk cost, because this is where ownership becomes real. EVs are cheaper to maintain overall, but efficiency changes everything. The BMW iX, because of its efficiency, can save you a noticeable amount over time in charging costs. Over a few years, that can easily add up to hundreds or even over $1,000 compared to the Audi. More importantly, it saves time, and that's something most buyers don't calculate up front. The Audi costs more to run. Not dramatically, but enough to notice over time. It's the kind of difference that feels small at first, then becomes obvious later. The Mercedes sits in the middle, balanced, predictable, but not leading. Then comes resale value. Cars that feel future-proof tend to hold value better. That gives BMW an edge. Mercedes depends heavily on luxury perception. Audi struggles slightly because its tech doesn't feel as forward-looking anymore, and buyers in this segment are increasingly looking for innovation. So now the question isn't which car is the best, it's which car fits you. If you want familiarity, comfort, and an easy transition from petrol to electric, the Audi Q8 e-tron delivers that. But you're also accepting that it's not leading anymore, and that matters more over time than it does on day one. If you want a car that feels like a smart decision every day, less charging, better efficiency, stronger performance, the BMW iX stands out more the longer you own it. It rewards you over time, not just in the first impression. And if you want a car that feels like an experience every time you step inside, something that impresses you and surrounds you with luxury, the Mercedes EQE SUV becomes incredibly tempting. It's the car that makes every drive feel like an event. But here's the truth most people won't say clearly. You're not buying a car for today. You're buying how that car will feel in 3 years. And in 3 years, one of these will still feel ahead. One will feel like a smart decision, and one will feel like you played it safe in a world that moved forward without you. If this was my money, real ownership, daily driving, long-term thinking, I'd go with the BMW iX. Not because it's the flashiest, not because it has the biggest screen, but because it's the only one here that consistently wins where it actually matters: range, efficiency, performance, and future relevance. And in a world where electric cars are evolving faster than anything else on the road, that's the difference between a good choice and the right one.